We have two programs this morning for you. One is about the vending business, the other about the DSD. First one is the vending business, the state of vending business, our history, our past, and right now what we are dealing with. Some of you know that the business of street vending is very flat now, and it's been flat for years. And the question is what we are going to do about it. Thanks to Karen and Wells Blue Bunny, we got the group together, and based on some ideas, we wanted to create the vending of the future. We did lots of experiments as far as the truck goes, the look of the truck of the future. We were blaming the lack of business based on the look and the style of the truck. We did some experiment, we built some trucks, but the business didn't move that much. Mike Johnson, several years ago, he brought some issues to our meeting and talked about the food trucks. As you know, in the restaurant business, a chef getting out of the college, by the time they get to the workforce, they have to work for a restaurant under another chef. They become a sous chef or they become a cook, until it maybe take 10, 15 years for them to become a chef and do their own creation and basically create the dishes that they like to do. And recently, some entrepreneur chef start building their own trucks. These huge trucks with oven, stove, all kinds of things, 3-compartment sink, running water, and basically they thought with the $150,000 investment, they can be in their own business. And basically some of them are very, very successful. I saw a program in Bravo channel that somebody was taking his girlfriend to the date. He asked one of these trucks to cater to them. It was that romantic because the food was unique and everything else. I thought to myself, why can't we do that? So I put this on hold and I look at our history now and where we came from. And because if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. In 1920, Harry Bird basically created a chocolate that is compatible with ice cream, and he created the ice cream covered with chocolate. At the same year, Bird basically created a fleet of 12 street vending trucks with the bell. And they are saying that the first bell came from his son's bobsled. But our advertising was basically the bell or the music box. This is the 94 years since that first vending started. You tell me, in 94 years, what did we do differently? What did we do innovate to appeal to our customers? The generations have changed, and over and over the technology, and we haven't changed. You tell me, if any other industry would not do anything for 94 years, do you think they would be in the business? They would not change the way they do their business or adapt to a new environment? But we still exist, and we've complained that we are flat. But the good thing about it is the people want us. They like ice cream, they like the vendors, we are more relevant than ever because people are more mobile. But we are not relevant ourselves. We are not adjusting ourselves. We are not innovating. We are not adopting and adjusting to market's need. So how could we do that? You know, in 1960s, after the good humor, lots of independents start coming to the business. And basically, originally they would park in a corner of a street and people flock to them and line up and everything else. Then they start running around the neighborhoods, and I remember Manny Ginsberg in late 60s to late 70s, he created more than 10,000 ice cream trucks. His company used to call International Ice Cream Truck. So we changed some of those, and basically the other changes in our industry happened when in 1990, Merit Food went out of business. That was a big blow because there are lots of faces and everything that Merit Food used to make. Then in 1991, Wells Blue Bunny entered to our business, and with that, they brought lots of good manufacturing skills and paying attention to the details, and basically was a great addition to our business. But then by 2000, lots of paleterias start taking our ice cream in their mix it with the American ice cream. So they had the dual ice cream. So we didn't feel the decline. Some trucks went out of business, but lots of pushcart came in. So we fooled ourselves and didn't pay attention to it, and basically enjoyed the prosperity with the paleterias. Then the immigration issues and stuff like that happened, and lots of paleterias went out of business. They still some are in the business, but now we feel it. So I asked myself, what is the difference between us and that food truck? Why can't we have entrepreneurs like those food truck guys to basically take this business to the next level? This is the fleet, one of my fleet, my own, and it really doesn't change. Nothing changed. So we basically got the 3 trucks we made like this. The truck is making electricity. So we do not have a big cold-plated freezer in a truck that used to be adjusting the chassis and shock absorbers and all kinds of things so for the truck don't tilt to one side. So we have a regular freezer in there, and we have boosters and some technology that using the engine of the truck to create electricity. So now we used to drive around the neighborhood with the gas being 99 cents or $1. Now the gas is $4 or $3. It's very hard to make that business. So basically, we thought that we fixed the truck and some of our problem is going to be solved. And it was solved. The truck performed very well, and the truck has the air conditioning, especially in the south. When in the middle of the summer, when there is 100, we have 120, 130 days over 100 degrees, guys. For those guys from the north, basically, inside of the truck is 140 degrees. We had some driver getting sick and dehydrated over the years. Now we have air conditioning, we have the comfortable truck and everything else, and without adding the cost, and the truck is a very desirable and marketable truck. But my problem was that I gave it to the same drivers, the same ice cream man with the same old mentality that that's the way it is. I cannot do more than $300 a day or $400 a day. With that type of money, by the time you pay for the gas, for the truck, for the dry ice, or for whatever the cost is, insurance, and driving 12 hours a day and paying for ice cream, there is not much left in it. So while I was searching and Karen pressuring me every day, what's the answer and where are we going? I just said, okay, I need to reverse engineer this. They say you dream it and then you make it happen based on that dream. So I said, okay, if I dream what is the perfect situation could be for this business to revive is for a truck to make $1,000 a day. If the truck make $1,000 a day, as you know, formula for the ice cream is 1/3 of it is the cost of ice cream. And then I said, okay, if you sell $1,000 and then you spend half of it for your supply, for your insurance, for your car or truck, and renew your truck, new truck every 4 or 5 years, and do all the right things, you need $1,000 sales a day. Now, all of a sudden, I have a goal. So I went and come up with some ideas for the drivers to get to $1,000 a day. But when you have some drivers that have perception that it cannot be done, you know, there is a saying, if you think it cannot be done, you're right. And if you're thinking it can be done, and you're right. It's all up here. If you want to do it, you will do it. And if you think it cannot be done, you convince yourself in any ways that it cannot be done. So for 2-3 years, I couldn't get the numbers up. The maximum I did is $700, $800. I wanted $1,000 and more. At that time, I said, okay, Mark Santini is, by the way, forgive me, please, I didn't introduce my colleagues that presenting with me. Tom Renvold Jr. from Summer Song is helping us, and he has a very good surprise for you. How many of you heard about Uber for the taxi? He have the same solution for ice cream like Uber. So please stay tuned, and he's going to have very good information for you. And then later on, you can approach him, and he would love for you guys individually to test it, and hopefully we can get it going. Mark Santini is Executive Director of Sales and Operation for my company. He's been in the business for almost 20 years, all his adult life. He's been with Dryers and Nestle. But he doesn't know anything about, or didn't know anything about street vending until I went to him. I said, you know, in convenience store business, in a small format, we were way behind compared to any other distributors or other products. And we focused on it. We were not geniuses. We just focused on it and go at it, and every day we got better in technology, in the way to go into business. I used to go to the convenience store for $40, $50 stop. Today we do an average of $300 per stop. So how did I do that? Why that formula would not work here? So I asked, Mark, I need your help. I need your best salesman. We pay him anything he wants. Don't worry about the cost. I want him to understand the best salesman that is the most aggressive salesman that we have, and I want him to go because my drivers, they cannot sell it. The idea is I'm going to create a business plan that is going to do $1,000 a day, and with that $1,000 a day, I can have the young entrepreneur. If you work 300 days out of the 365 days in the South, that's $300,000 sales, guys. $300,000 sales. And let's say $150,000 of it goes for the cost. For a young man with $150,000 a year would be a great job, wouldn't it be? I would love my son to make that much money. So that would be ideal. And if you get that new blood, that new generation who is savvy in communication with the environment that bunch of us really have not much clue, but they can relate and they can take it to the next step. So all of a sudden I got a light in my head and I said, okay, I got the answer, I just got to achieve it. In the old days, when we did the business, we said, okay, originally they just go to the neighborhood. Originally they only stay on the corner of a street waiting for people to come. Then the novelty wore out. Then they started driving around the neighborhoods and hoping for the kids come. Then later on they said, okay, when the kids were in school, they would go after school time. Then somebody came up with the idea, okay, before school, go to some commercial garages or mechanic shop and sell to them until the kids get out of school, then go to the neighborhood. That was the formula, 20% commercial, 80% neighborhood. But you know, today's kids, there is no kids on the street. In our generation, the parents would send the kid outside, come back for supper, and everybody played in the park, in the neighborhood, in the street, and there was a great market for us. Today, with the new generation and these games, and the kids, they spend most of their time in front of computer. They play the games and be on the internet and even play with their friends, each of them in their own home, online playing with each other. And so how do you sell to that? One answer is the Uber type of solution. The other one is to totally upside down the business. Instead of being 80% in the neighborhood, 80% we are going to be in a scheduled event. Scheduled event. Bear with me. Why? You know, when you go to a neighborhood, time passes you by. You stop, you sell 3, you sell 4, and then nothing, and then an hour. If I want to do it $1,000 a day in 10 hours, that means $100 an hour. I cannot waste any time. I really cannot waste any time. I talked to one of our guys, our friend. They were doing, he basically said, we're doing 35 stops in the convenience store business a day or more. And I said, how can it be? I can only barely do 20. He said, Haas, is your perception. Did you know that UPS does 140 stops a day? They started with 50, 60s, and have you seen the UPS guy or FedEx? When they come to you, they cannot wait to run. Just like they need to use the bathroom, you just cannot wait. Basically, you have to sign and they want to go because they don't have time to waste. So that's an important element, that we cannot waste time for 1 or 2 sales. We need to have massive sales in every hour if we want to achieve our goal. So the scheduled event that we will do, and I'm going to ask Mark to elaborate when we get there, this is the key, that in 10 hours, $100 an hour, I would reach my goal. And believe it or not, majority of it doesn't have to be kids. So we came up with some ideas. One of the ideas was lots of people did daycare. They would go to a daycare and basically sell to them. But it wasn't that type of sales that I wanted. But just because you tried something, have you ever heard say, been there, done that, doesn't work? It's very normal. When some of the old vendors, you would go to them and say, daycare, they say, been there, done that, is not going to give you the result you want. But I basically compared that with you're working on the radio trying to get a channel. If you really don't get it on the frequency that you want, you don't get the channel, right? You have to tweak it a little bit until you make it happen. Everything is like that. Just because it didn't work the way you did it, that doesn't mean it's not going to work. For that reason, I said, okay, why didn't it work? Well, some of the kids didn't have money, some of the kids had money. I said, okay, we'll solve that. We created a presentation. We went to first of all, we find out that, majority of families who take their kids to the daycare, they want to be close to within 5 miles from their home or from their work. So as a result, there are tons of daycares. You can go online, get the daycare centers and everything else. Then you need to make a presentation, and based on that presentation, you go over there and preach to them and say, okay, what about making a ice cream day once a week or once every other week? And you charge your parents $3 for ice cream day. The kids are going to be excited, looking forward to it, behave as a result and everything else. So you sell that idea, they put it as part of their program, so it guarantees every kid gets ice cream. Now you say you charge $3 for each ice cream, and you keep $1. Now all of a sudden they have a stake in the whole deal. And we give you free ice cream for all your staff. Now you go over there. By the time they get there, you park in their property, so you're not on the street, you're not in illegal areas. They try to get the kids, and here you lose 30 minutes by the time they come and line up, and kids, Then we use that Uber or calling in advance, saying, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. So they already have to line up the kids. I don't want to waste my hour for this organization. So we say 10 hours, the idea is for you to line up, stay there, and as soon as we come, they walk to the truck, they go, and we do this. So this is a couple of examples. Mark going to go through it. So that's the idea. If I do enough daycare and car dealerships and churches, you go to churches, you say, Mr. Preacher, every Sunday when your people, when you finish the sermons and when they come out, they're perched, they're tired, I would park in your parking lot and I serve all of them and I give you 20-25% back to the church. Not only they agree with it, they actually announce it and encourage people to buy because this guy, Mr. Haas, is paying back to us. Please support him because indirectly you're supporting us. Instead of going to parks and try to get the permit, you go align with the concessionaire there. Or you align with the soccer association, football association, baseball association. They all want money. All of them need money. You give percentage of that money to them, but you need to be honest and you need to have a way of calculation. You cannot do the old way, put all the money in your pocket. I don't know, I sold $20 and here is $2 for you. You cannot deal like that. That's why we created a technology that, again, Mark Santini is going to go for. The idea is you need to have a business plan and a salesmanship. Until we get the right people at the job. Once we get the right people at the job, they are going to take it to the next level. If you get the right entrepreneurs who wants to do it, and if I had my way, I would send my son Dylan. he would be a great salesman, but he's physically, it's hard for him to do that because he has some limitation. But we need entrepreneurs like that that push and may take it to the next level. You tell me what location you have in the grocery convenience store that sell $1,000 a day. Very seldomly you have a location like that. This is a business we can conquer and revive it if we do things right. Again, do not, if you think you cannot do it, you're right. And if you think you can do it, you are right again. You need to have the spirit that we're going to make it happen, and once it happens, you revive your business to no end. We have to be relevant to this market, to this generation, to this environment. With that in mind, I would ask Mark to take over. He put one of his best salesmen in the market to start doing. He has, I wanted data. By the way, nobody has data on the vending business. Nobody knows what's going on. We never had a data because we deal with lots of mom and pop or independent people that they could not do anything else. They become ice cream drivers. So you're as good as your people. You are investing the people who, if they work 3 hours, they are good enough for them. As long as they can just eat. That's not what we want. We need to change that attitude. So we created 3 trucks with technology that we take credit cards and everything else. Mark is going to go through it. But we start collecting data. My job, and I told them that your data is going to be confidential. We're not going to mess with it. We're not going to use it in anything else. And your name is actually going to go away. We just want to understand it. I help you to make $150,000 a year, but you help me to understand the business so I can help you even more. With that, Mark Santini.
Morning. I'm privileged to be here, so thank you for having me. I am new to the vending business. Yes, it's a new challenge for me. Hoss asked me 6 months ago to let's kind of change the paradigm. Let's see how we can make vending successful. So for me, I looked at the vending business and how we operate compared to how we operate in our normal business. And our normal business, as Hoss mentioned, and we're very successful right now in our independent C-store business and our grocery business. So how do you take those same principles? We have a partner that has a couple vending trucks, and we looked at his business. Now, Grant and I will tell you that his business is pretty good with commercial, and that's one of the things that we've been preaching all year long is you got to build stops, you have to have commercial stops, forget about the neighborhoods to where you're just driving around, make those scheduled stops as well. And he's done a really good job of building his commercial business up, dealerships, warehouse districts. He's done a great job. But he hasn't stepped outside the truck to go in and make a sales pitch and sell his services. You know, that's a great thing. You saw that truck, that brand new truck. It's a great new looking truck. And that's a good thing to pull up. And who do we really want to attract also? Yes, we got the adults and we're doing the commercial business. But you know, kids love ice cream. They love the ice cream truck. My daughter to this day waits every Monday for the ice cream truck guy to come by so she can get her ice cream. True story, he didn't come by one day. She was very upset. She's 12 years old. She went online and sent him an email and told him that she was very disappointed that he didn't come by on his scheduled day. No joke. And she said that me and my brother are waiting for you for 2 hours. You never came by. He came by every Monday. Now he stops in front of my house and rings the bell. So the kids are out there. And when I say 12 years old, they're sending emails and they're using technology. Some of what Tom has is really going to help us in the future for this business. But we looked at, and as Hoss mentioned, I grabbed my best sales guy. And I mean my best sales guy. Every year he comes to me and says, hey, you know, you're giving me my goals are too high. And every year he beats it by 150%. So I said, what better guy do I have to go out and help the vending business? So what we did was I asked him, I said, here's this one truck. Go out and get this one truck and find as many daycares in this area for this truck. There was 80 daycares, okay? Now the thing with daycares people have to realize, as Hoss mentioned, you have to go out there and sell in advance. They make their budgets in advance for the year because, I don't know, it's been a long time since I had my kids in daycare, but they charge you and you're committed for the year. You know, their price is set for the year, and when you sign up to be in that daycare, you're there, you're paying that weekly fee every week. So for them to go back to their parents and they're already, who has kids in daycare? Nobody has kids in daycare? Wow, that's a shock. It's very expensive nowadays, $200 a week, right? So if you got to go to them every week and say, we need $5 more because the ice cream truck is coming, or we need $6 more because the ice cream truck is coming, how many people want to keep digging out of their pocket every week to do that? So you make that part of their weekly planned events. So just as a rough number, we said, hey, if we go out and get 75% of daycares, which we did, committed to selling in the off season, and 30 of those daycares we can get to purchase weekly, bi-weekly, and 30 to purchase monthly, at $150 a stop, that route would generate an incremental $108,000 in revenue. And that was our first goal, okay? We really want to make sure we had the right decision maker. And so when we sit down with those daycares, we plan out their calendar, their event calendar for the year. And as Hoss mentioned, whatever you sell, how you sell yourself, how you present yourself is what they're going to go off of. So if I'm presenting a $2 item, they'll take a $2 item. But why would I want to present a $2 item? If I can present a $3 item or a $4 item, I'm going to present it to that daycare and ask them also they can make some incremental money on that for themselves to use for other projects they may have. So we really worked on getting to the decision maker, and what we found out is multiple locations are under one decision maker. So now you get locked in with that one decision maker and you have some success. Most of them have event calendars, so they'll plan out what they have for the year, special events they're going to do. They may do a field outing. You get all put on the schedule for not only the weekly stop, but also the special events they may have on the weekend for their daycare. So what we want to do is show some success in that. And as I mentioned earlier, the route was pretty good with commercial. Remember, Hoss said 20% was commercial, 80% was residential. Well, this route we got to do 49% of his business as commercial, 22% was residential. Now, these residential stops are not residential stops where he's driving through the neighborhood. These are selected residential stops where he goes and basically he's talked with these homeowners associations to be part of their neighborhood, so he can pull up in, you know, high residential areas where he was in those neighborhoods. So he does really well. So he said, hey, we're missing out on daycares, we're missing out on special events. So we were able to secure one daycare. One daycare every Monday, every week. Look at the rest of the week where there's no daycare and he's doing 300, 300, 300. That one daycare is a $400 a week stop. $400. He's there for 2.5 hours. $400. That was the first week we were able to secure that. And then the next week, we were able to secure that as well. But off that, he left his flyer there. A mom had a birthday party, and he was able to get an incremental special event on a Saturday. Just because mom saw the truck there when she went to go pick up the kids, and she wanted that opportunity to come to the house for the party. He's also secured some special events, which is big. Local fairs, state fairs, getting in that business is helping him reach $758, $777. Those are some big numbers. And as we continue to go through the month, again, that special event, that daycare was $425, giving him $683, but a special event gave him that $1,200 a day. That's $1,200 is big for vending. Who here has done over $1,200 consistently a day? Do you want to do $1,200 a day? I'm sure everybody does. So we took that and said, hey, how do we roll that? And we continue to get more special events off this one daycare. Again, this one daycare gave us another $325 party from that same daycare. One daycare. So I said to myself, when I go back to the slide, if I have 60 daycares and we're able to get a daycare on every single day, and they're doing $200, $300, that $1,000 day is really achievable. But you have to go out and solicit that business. You have to spend the time. It's not a one-time visit. It's not a two-time visit. You may have to go visit that daycare several times in order for you to get that sale, but you have to do that now. The selling season is when we're not out on the road as much as and in the neighborhoods. We're slow November, December. You should be out selling to those customers, building that commercial stop, building that daycare, building up your scheduled stops in the off season. So when the season is here, you're rolling and you have that business. And again, the more daycares you get, the more special events you spin off from daycares. So when Hoss said, hey, I want $1,000 a day, 6 months ago when I was sitting with the independent operator, he said, 1,000, man, Hoss, what is Hoss thinking? I can do 300. That's a lot. I said, okay, you're doing 300. But change the way you think. It can be done if you work at it. And he's a believer now. But as Hoss mentioned, you have to change your way of thinking. You have to think outside the box. You have to put your mind towards it's achievable. And you know what? You're going to get a million no's. But you don't stop with every no. You got to keep going and pushing till you get that yes. And the big part about it is your service and what you represent. That clean image, when you're pulling up to see those kids, that you've got a nice clean image, your service is what you say it is, and that word of mouth spreads through those daycares. So that's just a small example of how you can achieve these $1,000 days. Hoss, do you want anything?
Yes. When you have built a business like that, it comes with the big responsibilities. When you said at 10 a.m. you are supposed to go to a daycare, that salesperson, that individual need to be disciplined enough to make sure that within the stop on time, because you cannot disappoint those kids. They're lining up for you, they're waiting for you. You need to remember that if you mess it up, you mess it up for good. Again, this is just the beginning of the beginning. When I started the convenience store business, we did $40, $50, we lose our pants on it. But then we said, okay, we need to do $100 average. Then we achieved it. I said, we need to do 150, we achieved it. I said 200, we achieved it. I said 300, and we achieved it. Now I'm moving the pole to 500, and I'm gonna go to $1,000 soon after that. The $1,000 is beginning. We need to figure it out. We need good people, good vehicle, and good business plan. These guys need to be having a right business plan and a right discipline. They cannot think that this is their money. How many vendors you have, if you have a vending depot, they sell one day and they think it's their money, they go pay their rent, they do whatever they need to do. The next morning they don't even have money to replace those ice cream. This needs to be run like a business. Otherwise it's not going to happen. So they need to have a cash register. They need to know what they're selling, what they sold, where they sold it. I want to know if I sell a strawberry shortcake, where do they sell? Daycare, garages, I don't know, the parks. I need to understand it. I need to know what product I need. Just going and hoping that he make the right selection, or a clueless, every year I make a menu for my trucks. And I never been on the street. And I don't know what's going on. And I'm based on my knowledge, based on some numbers, I make that decision. It's the stupidest thing we do. We need to have the numbers. We need to know where they're selling. On that cash register that Mark is going to elaborate a little bit more, this is an iPad that basically there is a program that this can be easily mounted in the driver. This can be detached. They can get the credit card and has the accounting. That how much I sold, where I sold. It calculates the 20% rebates to basically the ballpark or the church or the daycare, discount, whatever that is, the free giveaway, things like that. One of my, every year for last 2 years, and Peter didn't come to those meetings, you need to start coming to those meetings. Beginning of the year, we have kickoff meeting. In those kickoff meetings, we come up with ideas. And one of the guys, what he did, he goes to the middle of the shopping center and park his truck, no music, nothing. First day he calls it breaking the ice. What is the breaking the ice? He said, at the beginning of the year, I go there and I fill my truck with ice cream, and I go to each of these shops, salon, nail salon, hair salon, I don't know, whatever that is, and I go say, excuse me, ma'am, I am the friendly ice cream man from your neighborhood, and I want to treat you all for free ice cream. What do you like? And he has the iPad picture of the ice cream and everything else, takes their order, goes back, he has a hawker bag or a tray, bring the ice cream and give it to them, and they love it. And he says, by the way, every day I'm in this neighborhood, can I stop by to sell you some ice cream? Sure, they already got your ice cream, it's hard for them to say, no, don't come back here. So, sure, come back. He says he goes to a nail salon. The lady who runs it and is the owner cannot have enough time to go across the street to the basically convenience store to get something to eat or drink. They love it. Some client even give him tip. So you park in one place, take the orders and get the orders and go back serving them. Just need to look outside the box. When you get the people together, every year we have a kickoff meeting. When people come and we share this information they bring back some more information. Every year at the end of the meetings, we ask who has some success stories. So believe me, this is going to snowball. Again, if you think it cannot be done, you're right. And if you think it can be done, you're right again. But we need to have discipline. We need to teach them business. They need to understand profit loss. They need to understand this is not their money. And this money needs to go back as an investment and calculation and think of everything to educate them throughout the system. So you have to have that. If he's a sloppy guy and doesn't do everything right, it's going to crash. For $150,000 take home, you want a capable guy. So that's important. The right people on the right truck with the right business plan with the right attitude. Okay? Now, in collaboration, we work with Tom, with some of the other distributors, Wells Blue Bunny, and Tom went out of his way on his own, created do you want to go on the technology?
Yeah, just one last thing on Square. For most vendors, investing into a big software system to run their mobile vending business, it's not realistic. If you haven't heard of Square, Square is a great program to use. The fees are really cheap for taking credit cards. But the biggest thing with Square is it's not just about credit cards. It accepts every form of payment. And in order for us to kind of understand the business, all that sales data you saw was information we pulled out of Square, showing us where we're selling the products to. And if you don't have the numbers and the data that show what you're doing, you don't have any direction. There's no roadmap to the end. You're just saying, hey, here's where I sold product today. You need data, and data is important for you to understand what's selling and what's not selling. So I encourage you that, get your operators on the Square app, or to be using that information. Data is key. A lot of these guys, for a long time, everything has been cash, and how do I log everything in Square? It's habits. It took them, I'm not kidding, 3 months to break the habit of using the app, but they use it now all the time. They use it for cash, they use it for checks, they use it for credit card. It's being used. Now we can capture some real live data, and you can see histories. You can see what time of the day they're selling the most. Is it 6:30 in the afternoon where they have their highest sales? That's good data that you're in to say, do I need to start earlier? Do I need to stay out later? So if you haven't, please look into Square. It's quick. It's integrated with QuickBooks. It can do all your back office stuff. It's a great program for a small fee. With that,
before you go to the other thing, guys, the most important thing going to the future to take this to next step is data. Any vendor in your system you help, I am going to give them the cash register for free, program for free, but I need the data and confidential. I don't want to abuse their information. I don't want to send anybody to their, I just want to understand so I can create the best menu. I can create the best list of product for them so I can help them more. Because my next plan is for them to make, the more money they make, the more money I make, right? So I want them to start doing more than 150,000, maybe 200,000, maybe more. So data is very important. You do all of these things, but you need to get their trust. Some of these vendors, they for some good reason, they do not want to share. They're worried. It could be IRS. It could be whatever that is. I don't care. I make sure that their information is confidential with me, and take a confidentiality, sign an agreement with them, whatever I have to do. I need the data. I don't need their name. Just all of these things can be EDI to our system on a daily basis. I would support them with the decals of the truck. I would support them with everything in one condition, that I get the data. In this industry, the future lies on data. For us to have the manufacturers like Blue Bunny, Nestle, and Unilever to invest in us and take us to the next level, the first question they have, what is your data? Where do you want me to invest, and why you want me to invest? And if you don't have the answer to that, they are going to say sorry. We had the privilege of Javier to join our board of directors. These are his words. This is exactly what he said. He said, Unilever worldwide have many departments. E-commerce, they are going to say, we are going to double this business in 2 years. The Unilever put all the money there. I'm going to say, I need money for vending. Say, okay, what are you going to do with it? What is the result? If we give you this money, how you're going to return? He doesn't have the answer. So he's not going to get the money to invest in us. We need to come to the 21st century. We need to learn how to deal with our suppliers, understand their language. Not only understand our consumers, we need to understand our suppliers, and we need to understand our soldiers. The front line are these ice cream truck salespeople. They are the most important thing. We need to support them, make sure that they make money, make sure that their well-being, they're safe, educate them, teach them, and the more money they make, don't worry about it, the more you make. So it is, all of these are related to each other. It's just not one component that I thought, oh, we don't have the right truck, that's why we don't make money. We don't have the right people at this time. No, Tom, sorry I took so much of your time.
Thank you, Haas, Mark. Fellow members, my name's Tom Renwald, and I'm from Summer Song. ice cream. And we're in the Midwest. We have 8 depots in different markets in the Midwest, over 200 trucks. We're fleet vendors. It's a little different than selling just independents and so on. My father started the business back in 1959. Haas did a great job of showing us the history of the ice cream vending industry. And when I talk to my father, he talks about the days where he would send out the trucks, and they would only go out and have a small neighborhood that they would run, and they would always come back empty. He said that was after World War II. There were tons of kids in the neighborhoods. Moms were home. People didn't have air conditioning. They were outside. They needed to cool off, and so on. Well, it's 2014. Now I'm running the company, and it's very difficult. We all know how difficult it is. My friend Chris Long and Chris's father started a business too, and we're both fleet vendors. We have all these trucks and all these depots to maintain and so on. And in the middle of the summer, I always call Chris and say, "How's it going, Chris?" And usually the conversation goes back and forth. "Well, you know, it's 100 down here in Kansas City, and we're not selling anything. The vendors are quitting. It's really rough." And I'll say, "Well, yeah, it's only 50 here in Chicago. We're not selling anything either." And then Chris says, "Yeah, I filled up with gas this morning. It just went over $4, And by the way, my insurance company called, and the premiums are going up at the renewal." So we have all these issues, and I'm guilty of, as Haas said, we're just doing the same thing over and over. I'm doing what my father did in 1959. The trucks go out, they ring a bell in the neighborhood, we try to do some commercials and so on. Well, I thought, I have to find a solution for these issues, these variables. How do we solve this? How can we sell ice cream when it's raining, it's cold, it's hot? Why is it, when it's hot, we should be selling a lot of ice cream, but it doesn't work that way because the world has changed. People have air conditioning. Moms are not at home. The kids are not at home. How do we solve the gas problem? What are we running around the neighborhoods trying to solicit business, wasting gas? Why are we doing that? And so forth. Well, we've done these events for Uber. Many of you have done those events, and you've seen how the Uber iPhone app or smartphone app works. And I went ahead and I've developed an app for the street vending industry. This app will allow customers to, like Uber, to request the ice cream truck. So they'll be able to search for the nearest ice cream truck. They'll be able to look at the different ice cream trucks that are nearby, look at their menu, look at their picture of the truck, the driver, his background, his credentials, and they'll be able to make a decision and request that truck. That truck and that driver will get the request, and he'll respond if he accepts the request. And it's a back and forth, and with today's technology, it's not that complicated. The driver gets a map to where the customer is. He can go to the customer and make a sale. I've also added a neat feature because of the impulse nature of the business. The vendor, as he goes into a neighborhood, will be able to send out a notification to the customers that are nearby, within a 1-mile radius of where the vendor is at that time. So when a vendor goes into a subdivision, he can hit a button and he'll see how many customers have the app in that subdivision. And at that time, he can hit a button, and those customers on their phone will get a notification. It'll play the ice cream truck music for a couple seconds and say an ice cream truck's nearby. So we still have that stimulating music and the impulse nature of the business. I created a little commercial I'd like to show you that kind of demonstrates the app.
Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. But what happens when the ice cream man can't hear you? Or worse, what if you can't hear him coming? Say hello to Street Treat, your one-click answer to ice cream delivery. Street Treat brings the ice cream man to you through your smartphone or tablet. You can view driver profiles, menu selections, and prices before the truck arrives. And contact the driver with questions or special instructions. You may even have the app alert you when an ice cream truck is coming to your area. A text notification and audio chime notifies you in real time that your favorite treats are only minutes away. At home or at work, Street Treat will bring the ice cream man to you. So stop screaming and download the free Street Treat app today. Available in the Apple App Store and at Google Play.
So I guess what I would like to do next is show you a video. This is the instruction video for the driver. It's a short video that teaches the driver how to use the app. And then after that, I would like to offer anybody that wants to see it demonstrated. I'll be at the show tomorrow next door. You can come up to me and I can demonstrate it for you with your phone. We can go over it. Go ahead, Mark.
Welcome to the Street Treat Driver App Demo. Notice, only use Street Treat apps when you are parked and stopped. Do not use Street Treat apps while operating your vehicle. After downloading and installing the Street Treat Driver app, you'll need to sign up for an account. Make sure the information you supply is accurate. Your email and phone number must be working, as the administrator will need to contact you for additional information before activating your account. This additional information will include a photocopy of your driver's license, proof of insurance, as well as a W-9 and authorization for a criminal background check. Press Submit when finished. After receiving an email from the administrator confirming your account activation, log into the app with the username and password you created at the time of your setup. Once you are logged in, customers will see your ice cream truck service as available. You must allow the app to follow your location so it can work with customer apps who will be requesting your ice cream truck service. All screens of the interface can be selected using the menu icon on the upper left. Begin by selecting My Profile. Start by completing your profile. Include a current picture to show customers what you will look like when they call you to have ice cream delivered. You can use an existing picture on your phone or take one with your phone's built-in camera. This is important as customers will expect the vendor to look like their photo. Your name must match your driver's license. No exceptions. The other information will be auto-populated by the admin. My Menu. The administrator will populate your menu of novelties automatically. By selecting an individual item, you may set your own pricing and availability. Should you choose not to carry an item, or if you run out of any item, turning off availability will remove the item from the menu. You may additionally add items to your menu through the admin. Please note that this will require an image of the novelty that you supply. Contact the administrator for more information. Customers can choose to be notified when your truck is in their neighborhood. This one-button feature sends out a message to everyone within a 1-mile radius of your location. We recommend using this feature selectively so customers are not bombarded with pop-ups and shut off the feature. A good rule of thumb is to send out a new notification from each subdivision that is over 1 mile away from your last broadcast. The app will show you how many devices successfully received the notification. It is recommended that you go to My Profile and hit the Submit button before sending out a notification. This will ensure that the app has updated your exact location. Received requests are the most important part of the app. It is here that customers will alert you that they wish to have your ice cream truck serviced to their location. When a request comes in, it will show the customer's name and their status of being served. Click the customer to see the details. The details will show the distance of your van from the customer's location and options to accept or cancel the delivery. You may additionally select to see their location on a map. After accepting the order, you can additionally choose to contact the customer by email or phone. This is helpful if additional information is required. When the order has been delivered, check the Order Completed box and then click Update. By selecting the map, you can see a snapshot of the customer's location and your location. Using the map, you can plan the route you will take to the customer's location. You can view a history of past deliveries that have been completed through the app by clicking Completed Requests. This can help you determine which locations have been the most profitable for your service. Finally, remember to select Log Out when you are done serving for the day or anytime you plan to be unavailable for delivery. Customers will believe you are available for service as long as the app is running with your profile logged in.
Okay, in conclusion, what I'm going to do with my company is to help the vendors promote this by, I'm going to print business cards with links to the Apple Store and the Google Store to download the app. So the vendors will just have thousands of these and they'll give them out to all the customers and so on. And we are considering doing a free ice cream day, similar to Uber, where we'll do a lot of press releases in a market and announce that if they use the app, they can have free ice cream on that day. So if you would like to use this app in your market, it's not going to work without your help in promoting it for your vendors, whether they're your vendors or independent vendors. The customers out on the street have to know about the app to download it, so we need everyone, if they want to use it, to help promote it.
Thank you, Tom. For your information, the three of us are going to be throughout the meeting available. I know we bombarded you with so much information and it's hard to remember every little thing, so feel free to approach us. And at this time, we're going to ask if anybody has any questions, so hopefully we can answer. The other thing we wanted to say, Tom continuously working in improving this app. And basically, if we give the right tools to our vendors and give them the business plan, give them the inspiration, and give them the picture of the future, we're going to achieve what we are hoping to do. Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a first fantastic presentation by all three of you. Really well done. Mark, I have a question for you. I'm like Tom, I'm a fleet vendor. I do about 15,000 daycares every year around in my market. You said something that I want to understand better. I want to understand what items, form factors, you're presenting to the daycare. I'm not able to achieve the
different demographics, and you cater to those demographics, and we have sales sheets that cater to those. So if we can get a $4 ring in a daycare, we're gonna go after the $4 ring first. If we know that daycare is limited on their spend, and you have that during your conversation, which sales pitch to pull out and give them based on their budget and what they're looking to spend. So,
$4, you mean like cookie sandwich, those type of items?
yes.
Okay.
Another thing, that's a good question. To expanding on that answer, when Matt, our salesperson, went to the, I think he visited over 80 daycare in 1 week. And he said in his report to us, written report, he said he changed his presentation after every visit because he didn't know enough about the business and their business. So every time he learned something, he pitched it a little bit differently. We need to be dynamic and understanding of the business that we are dealing with. Otherwise, we go to the convenience store and try to sell them. We know what their business is, how they operate, what their needs are, what their concerns are. So we talk to those points. You need to understand your consumers, your church, your ballpark, your concessionaire, and all of those things need to come to good understanding. And I think at this time, if you have a dedicated salesperson for every 20 trucks, 30 trucks, it pays off. It pays off. Yes, sir.
This question is for Tom. When Uber does its ice cream day and annual ice cream day, probably different in different parts of the country. In San Francisco Bay Area, they charge. Instead of free ice cream, they have a minimum of $25 unless they give something. So, and I know you mentioned that the app, people request ice cream, the driver to decide to go to the location. Is there a minimum? How does the driver decide to go based on the guy who goes over there with ice cream, maybe go based on that?
Correct. So the driver will not have to accept the request. So he knows how far away it is and so on. To answer your question, he does not have to accept it.
Let me elaborate. This is a tool. For example, remember when I said that I go to a daycare, I don't want to wait for 80 kids to line up. So I can use this tool for that daycare that I announce within 10 minutes I'm going to be there, and I already told the daycare manager that when you get, so I don't have to call them anymore. Now I use this app and send a message to that daycare, and that daycare start lining up the kids, get them ready. It takes 10 minutes to do that. So it is your tool, and it is up to that driver to give that, the commercials, the scheduled stops, whatever that is a tool that you can decide how to use it. And again, it's not one way better than the other. Maybe there is a minimum, maybe there is not. But I need you guys to work with us, contact us, and let's bounce it off of each other. And the solution is in between all the questions and all the answers. Yes, sir, Sean.
Congrats on the app. I think it's genius. Is it going to be a free service for the drivers, like out of your area, to sign up for it?
The question is, would it be a free service?
Yeah, for all the work it seems like you have to do on your side as far as the background check and everything.
Yes. Our plan is to offer it for free the first year, but there are a lot of expenses and so on to administrate it. So we haven't figured out how to monetize it, whether it would be a monthly fee to the vendor or a per connection charge or something like that. But in the beginning, to get it out there, we're not going to charge. And I'd like to add one along those notes is I would like, I'm going to ask for investors, and I believe in this for the whole industry, that we should have one thing, because if everybody starts making their own, it'll be a battle, a war, and nobody wins. But if we all work together and have one solution, and we get behind it and invest money in it together, it could be, as successful as Uber.
Thank you. Mr. Packover? Did you have a question?
Do you figure if you're gonna put a minimum purchase on that, and it will automatically be in there, or no?
Presently, there's no minimum, but so the vendor must take the risk of accepting it. He has to decide, at this distance away, should I accept this or not? And we're talking about some updates where the vendor could say, I accept, but I will be 30 minutes or something, if he doesn't want to leave his area where he is at that moment.
Yes, sir.
But couldn't you also say, though, that the person requesting their phone number would come up, but couldn't the vendor just call up and say, I'll come, and just set a minimum down?
Sure, the vendor can call or text the customer. Once they're connected, the information between them is passed. They get the phone number of the customer, and the customer gets the phone number of the vendor.
I had one other comment on daycares. If you don't do daycares, don't be afraid that lots of times a lot of them want them in the afternoon. We've got a lot that do them in the morning. They shift it to the morning. If there's too many bunched up, you can say, could it be a morning snack? Kids don't care. I eat ice cream in the morning. And we have a lot of drivers that do the morning ones, and they'll kind of half get their truck ready. They know what the daycare is getting, and they'll kind of take that extra half hour afterwards to organize their truck then. And then usually hit like some gas stations or shops.
Great comments. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Tom, can that 1 hour radius be adjusted?
Presently, it can be adjusted, but it would be adjusted for the whole app. So our our recent testing, we've set it at 1 mile. Maybe a future update would allow the vendor to adjust it, but presently it would be an administration thing for the whole app.
We have a question from a good-looking table. Yes, sir. Yes, we're going to make sure that Tom is successful in doing so. At the beginning, we need to support him with pushing the app. And again, we're going to, right now, all of us here are volunteer, and we basically wanted the industry to strive and go forward. I myself, I could sit in my own island and do whatever I want to do. But every year it costs me lots of money, lots of time to become a volunteer and donate and come and put presentation together and work hours every week. Believe it or not, we have meetings and planning for the betterment of the industry. And I think only I benefit, and I said it yesterday, if all of you benefit. If all of you, as an industry, if all of us stay in the island, we're going to die. Together, we are stronger. And I take your comments to heart, and we're going to encourage anybody please volunteer, please become part of the association, please push us to do better, help us to do better, apply for being part of the board of directors. And we had a great discussion on Monday how to go forward. I wanted, before we end this, if there is no other question, I wanted to personally thank Karen, Riley, and Javier for pushing me, for encouraging me to do more. And at times, I'm an egotistical guy and don't listen enough, but forgive me, push me, I'll do my best. Any other question? Yes, sir. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, again, my first impression for problem was the type of truck, but it's really the type of people. You are as good as your people, the type of people who are entrepreneurs, who are like those chefs that I talked to you about, can take it to the next level. But to bring those type of people, you need to have a business plan. You need to have tools. You need to have, what do? We sometimes we train a guy for a couple of days and send him on the road and hoping that they do well. We don't give him the right tool. We don't give him the right truck. We don't give him the right ideas. We don't give him the right presentation. By the way, all the presentations that we use for the daycares or ballparks, all of those can be downloaded on their iPad, and they can go like a professional into the daycare and make a presentation, make an item, list all their advantages and the good things they are doing. So we make our presentation, you can take it to the next level. Maybe the next year we could come up with a list of different presentations and why this presentation is good to do it. So with that, if there is no other question, we're gonna, yes sir. Well, you are in Dallas, Peter. I'd be glad to help you with that. The program, you need to set it the way you like to. But we have some ideas that how to set it to be effective for you. So for you, my friend, if you are interested, contact our office in Dallas, and Mark Santini be glad to give you all that information. Yes, sir. Yeah.
One thing that would be, I think, valuable to this audience might be the presentations that you have available that you're already using for the group. That's point number one. Two is it reminds me of that metal pre-sale discussion we had yesterday. This is almost a transformation of the business, going someplace different. And the last thing I'll leave you with is we're supposed to know. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing every day, waiting for a different result. So I would challenge the group to take one thing back with it and try, whether it's a pre-sell account, maybe different presentation to your customers, but we've got to do something different as a business, as an industry, if we want to change that result. So hats off to the young team and Mom for putting that together. It's really good stuff. I know a lot of work went into it, so thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
One quick thing with the app, I have a lot of drivers, foreign-born drivers, that go under nicknames. So I understand having their real name. But if Ashkan's calling into a town, he's been going by Mario since the 80s. If he sent out a thing that said Mario's in the neighborhood, everybody would go, oops. Is there a way to
Okay, there is a solution, and I suggest that legally we want to be, yes, your reputation, your nickname, and all that. But one thing you need to understand, we want the picture so parents understand that. We want the legal name so people feel comfortable with that. We want the background check, so all of that add to their business. We could also add a nickname. So this is their legal name and this is their nickname, so we will look at it. Okay, anything else? Yes, sir, Sean.
I'm not gonna take the credit for this. Chris Trotter just said this. That create a sign like with like how you have here to label it like on the truck, like you do like a special event sign.
Yes, yes. Yes. There are lots of things that we've been doing, like putting a sign for the credit card on the things, a sign for the app. Again, the time of the presentation was not enough to cover everything, or the type of presentation. Hopefully next year we come up with the series of the marketing material and everything else and make the marketing an event, if Chris agrees with that. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Yes, sir.
Few comments I wanted to say. First, thank you very much for putting the time, the money, the energy to develop this. We are great trying to get this better. And I can see the comments and I say, yeah, but what we have to do is to use what we have. And today, this is 1,000 steps forward with what we had before. And I know that we say, and I put the nickname, I put this, I put that, and then 1 year time, we are still in pilot or test mode. We had here great stuff, great ideas, saying, how do we get the $1,000 per day? And probably they did without having the iPad or the application. I'm saying because we are with the app, we start with $1,000. That if we sell $1,000 collectively, here the people in the room, we will all benefit. Okay, so there are many insights in the presentation, and thank you for that. And yeah, we can get better and a better app. But guys, get the $700 or the $800, and then with the app and the other things, I would say we can get the 1,000 or the 1,500. And I would like to say thank you to you, to your teams, and to Blue Bunny, that I know that has been working very strong.
Thank you, Javier. Coming from you means a lot, and we appreciate that. Just please invest in our business, Javier. Okay, with that, thank you.